Okay, so welcome everyone to the National Water and Wastewater Conference 2020. I know what the date is today, but this is the conference that we were supposed to have last November in Niagara Falls. We hope to see you this coming November back in Niagara Falls when we host this conference live in the Falls. But until then, we've been running a series of webinars as a replacement with the theme of Towards a Sustainable Utility. This started as a project of our Utility Leadership Committee, but then quickly became a project of all of our technical committees at CWWA and became the theme of our webinar series, Towards a Sustainable Utility. Each committee gets to create one episode of this series, and today is energy. And I want to thank our Energy Committee, led by Ching Zhang, and all the members of that committee for their work that has developed this program today. So part of that project is to produce a guidance document on Towards a Sustainable Utility. It identifies our challenges and sets out some best practices. We're going to release that on World Water Day, March 22nd, as well as a closing, I think, have I gone again? Well, there we go. As a closing plenary of everything that we're doing on this webinar series. So, although we had said we were having a closing plenary on February 24th, we're going to move that to World Water Day, March 22nd, and we're putting together a whole panel discussion on how we bring it all together. These 8 webinars on 8 different topics. But how does it all come together for senior utility management? It's going to be a free event, and you'll see all the marketing for it, so tell everyone. Okay, as we get going, I'm moving around here a bit. I want to show you the site. If you haven't been to one of the webinars, look over here, and you'll see a box that says chat and Q&A. If you click on the chat, you have a choice of just saying something to the public. It'd be great if you just said hello right now. In that chat, go and say, hello, it's me, Bill from Saskatchewan, wherever you're coming from. And let us know you're here and say hi. If you want to say anything to a specific attendee, you can send a private message in that chat area, okay? If you have a question that you want to pose to the panel, go to the Q&A, not in the chat, go to the Q&A, also there, and we'll be able to track your question, and I'll pose that to the panel a little later. Okay, so it'll be me or Brian. I want to welcome our moderator. He'll get introduced later, but I want to thank Brian personally. Brian was the first moderator I ever really had when I got on this job. I hadn't done a lot of these, and Brian is always the model of the professional moderator for me. He made it very clear he was in charge of the session, and he threatened us that he'll cut us off if we went too long. And he was so prepared, and I really appreciate the support Brian's given us for years since I've been around here at CWWA. Another huge supporter has been EPCOR. EPCOR Water Services is our sponsor today. We can't do this without that financial support of our sponsors, but EPCOR has been a sponsor of ours for many, many years. They've come in on our last several conferences as our Platinum Top sponsor, and they're a big supporter today. If you don't know EPCOR, they're, I say, out of Edmonton. They're not in Edmonton, they're out of Edmonton because they're moving and providing services all over Alberta, into Saskatchewan, and are a very major player into the U.S. market in Arizona and New Mexico that I know of. But they have also provided human leadership across Canada in so many associations, not just ours, but I see their leadership in a lot of other water and energy associations. They gave us Ching, our chair of our Energy Committee, and also Dr. Stephen Craik, who's the chair of our Drinking Water Quality Committee, and they've given us members of our board of directors. So EPCOR, I really thank you for your continued support. Now, from EPCOR today, I'd like to welcome Sandeep Gupta. Sandeep Gupta is the Senior Manager, Water Plants Engineering with EPCOR, with a master's degree in engineering management from the University of Alberta. He has over 20 years of experience in Edmonton's utility sector, where he's completed various reliability, design, and energy efficiency projects in power generation, water, and wastewater industries. Over the last several years, Sandeep has been working as a Senior Manager of Engineering with EPCOR Water Services. He's a professional mechanical engineer registered with APEGA, where he also serves as a board member, and he's currently pursuing his executive MBA. So this is one busy guy. Really appreciate you being here today, Sandeep.
Hello, everyone. I'm pleased to join you today to kick off the Energy Efficiency as a Strategic Driver webinar, part of NWWC webinar series. EPCOR is proud to once again be a major sponsor at CWWA events. Although I'm missing seeing you in person, it's great to be able to connect virtually and learn from each other. For those who may not be familiar with EPCOR, we are an international utility provider headquartered in Edmonton, Alberta. We provide clean water, wastewater, and drainage services and safe, reliable electricity and natural gas to residential and commercial customers in US and Canada. EPCOR has over 800 dedicated water professionals in Canada who leverage their specialized skills to address evolving regulatory standards, emerging technologies, and market opportunities. Last month, EPCOR was named one of Canada's top employers for young people for 2021. EPCOR delivers water and energy to people every minute of the day. We see this as an opportunity to build a better future for the environment, our people, and our communities. I am very proud of the work EPCOR is undertaking to make our water and wastewater utilities more sustainable. We are reducing our carbon footprints and improving the resiliency of our utility infrastructure. Ching, who is the Manager of Energy Management for EPCOR Water, will talk further about our environmental strategy later in the webinar and how we plan to meet our 2035 greenhouse gas reduction targets. We have an interesting agenda for webinar today, which will be moderated by Brian Carney. Brian is currently a professor of civil engineering and associate dean of cross-disciplinary programs office in the Faculty of Applied Sciences and Engineering at University of Toronto. Brian is also principal of Hydratech with more than 30 years of experience in providing comprehensive hydraulic consulting services on the wide range of fluid systems, including water, wastewater, storm, oil, gas, and jet fuel. Brian has spoken and written broadly on subjects related to water resource systems, energy issues, hydrology, climate change, optimization, engineering education, and engineering ethics. He is an award-winning teacher and researcher. Let's welcome Brian as our moderator for today's session. Brian, I'll pass it over to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. Very nice welcome and introduction. Welcome from me as well. It's delightful to have you here today. This is a really fascinating set of topics and the subjects. When I think about energy, I'm not sure if you have the same sense of almost awe about this concept, but energy is remarkable in the sense that it applies to the smallest atom, the individual photons that are part of those atomic exchanges to galaxies and supernova and the whole cosmology of the universe. Very few concepts have that degree of breadth. You know, we use energy for explosions. We use it for monitoring our own weight and our diets. Energy is fundamentally a way of quantifying a change in state. The essence of what energy does is to give that transformation component. And really what we're talking about when we're talking about sustainability is how to do those transformations in a more effective and more efficient way. And today is all about efficiency. Really, when you do any energy transformation, you always have the challenge that you have a target that you somewhat achieve, but you have side effects that you don't expect. And really, efficiency says, let's maximize the signal to noise ratio. Let's get more benefit and less side effect. And that's what we're going to be hearing today. And the universal nature of this is going to be portrayed this afternoon by a variety of things. We've got a variety of geographical contexts. We've got people from the east, from the west, from central, from the prairies, who are going to be speaking about their own experiences in energy transformations. We also will see a variety of systems. Because energy is so universal as a concept, there are almost a universal number of ways that we can do a better job. And what the speakers who have engaged this topic are going to do is to give that sense of where they have found the biggest bang for the buck in their own institutions, where the rewards have been significant. Our first speaker this afternoon is from the Ontario Clean Water Agency, and we're delighted to have Indra with us today. Indra is the director or a director of at the Ontario Clean Water Agency, where he leads innovation, efficiency, and technology group. They're delivering solutions that include energy and climate change issues, resource recovery, and have done more than 220 municipal clients that they service. Indra's unique ability to work with stakeholders and to develop and deliver innovative solutions has resulted in more than 250 energy efficiency projects, and 5 of these are co-digestion projects dealing obviously with the dealing of waste. Indra is passionate about water and energy and the GHG greenhouse gas nexus, of course, and has worked through a sectorial industry collaboration to promote this. He is active volunteer with a variety of almost an alphabet soup of organizations: WEF, AWWA, OWWA, WEAO, and ONEA, and Ryerson Urban Water, as well as OSPI and PEO. He has also been an active member and mentee for young professionals, and so thinking about the sustainability of the workforce as well, and newcomers. So Indra, pleasure to have you with us. Please launch your presentation.
Thanks, Brian. I hope everybody can hear me. Brian, is that good?
It's good.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for everybody attending the workshop today. I'm going to take you through a few slides. A nice, interesting story about how Aqua formally started energy. And I'm using the word formally because energy activities has been happening since inception of Aqua 26 years ago, but we put some formality to this objective of achieving energy conservation. And I'm going to take you through that journey and how we manage the change management between the staff and then the programs and the projects, and how we are right now embarking on a couple of net zero projects. As you all know, Aqua is a Crown agency under Ministry of Environment, Conservation and Parks in the province, operating with the cost recovery model. That means we don't get any funding from the government. We serve about 4.5 million people in Ontario and manage 20 billion in municipal infrastructures. As you can see, we have 322 clients across Ontario. Majority of them are municipal, First Nations, government, and we also have commercial, industrial wastewater systems. Most of you who know Aqua might not know one thing about Aqua is we are also an emergency response team backstop for water emergency across the province. So if there's any, God forbid, emergency situations in any systems of Ontario, Aqua has a 5 emergency response team ready to be deployed at any instances. Now, as you know, 26 years ago when Aqua was formed, we had a solid 700 plus employees that is coming from operations background, 3+ years of decades of experience operating 700 plus systems. What we then started doing in 2014 in basically building that operational knowledge and embarking on other avenues of what we call is value-added services to help to work with consultants, to work with different service providers, and give that operational input to make the solutions more viable and sustainable in this journey. So we also has the opportunity to work with independent electricity system operator in 2018. After a few years, we started energy program, and because there was a need of sector specific energy opportunity assessment, so we convinced Ministry of Energy and IESO to invest on this study. And as you can see in this chart here, This is the first study that closely looked at water wastewater system and came up with the numbers that's associated with how much energy consumption is there. Obviously, a big number, 3.57 terawatt hours, and distributed it basically just the one chart sharing between electricity and gas. Drinking water, as you can see, wastewater is the biggest one, about 31%, and this report also basically highlighted that the municipal owners and other owners of water wastewater system has only achieved 10% of the potential savings. So that means we still have 90+% to still explore in coming years and days. So how we started. So initially, we were very fortunate to get funded by IESO again, that funded a FT that basically identify the opportunity, assess the opportunity, create the business case, and then do the project. So this contract ended in 2015. We call it energy efficiency service provider. So mostly what we focused on this one was raise awareness around conservation, identify the project, list of projects, and put the business case together. And by the end of 2015, we were already doing 70 energy efficiency projects, 20 energy audits and assessments, CDM plants and municipal plants, and we were able to generate about 10,000 megawatt hours of saving. Then for the first time in province in 2015, we approached to IESO and we proposed them, we want to do a performance-based energy program. So basically what we said is that give us some money that we want to do, which will be based on energy savings as a result of those programs. So initially, this program was based on FTE. So IESO gave us money to pay salaries and benefit for a full-time staff, and we did all the work. But this program, 2015 to 2019, was a first of its kind. We got a contract with IESO for about $1 million, and this program basically didn't pay us a penny until we actually do the project, generate the results, savings, and then validate it. Then only we get paid 21 cents per kilowatt hours. Then we pass it 10 cents per kilowatt hour as an incentive to the municipalities who did the project. Under this program, we generated an immense amount of savings and did more work and also spread over other kind of energy activities. So one very good outcome of this whole 4 years of exercises, we realized that there was a need of operator-specific energy awareness training. There were different trainings, but as you know, all the operators required to maintain the continuing education credits. And there was no training related with energy that carries a continuous education training. So Aqua worked with Fleming College to develop that training, which offers a 0.6 CEUs. We also did a lot of demonstration project, about 20 on that. And in 2017, as you must have remembered, 2016-17, the province started talking a lot about climate change. Climate change issues were a lot in focus, and we started embarking on climate change and
to
achieving
achieve that goal.
Sorry, I think there was some technical glitch here. Yeah, so I don't know, Dave? I think we lost the slides and there's slides toggle happening. Not sure if my slides are back on the screen.
I think I see them now.
Okay.
It's Robert. Yeah. Hey, Indra, I think you're good to go. You're on slide 6 now.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Robert.
See you.
So yeah, embarking on the federal and provincial policies around climate change and resource recovery, organics diversion, we expanded our because we already had done a lot of energy efficiency work and bringing the plant's energy footprint to a very considerable amount. And we started embarking on how can we recover energy and generate energy. So that's when we started looking at all these other projects, how to achieve a net zero resource recovery facilities, which I will cover in few more slides. So as I said, our primary, we still have energy program. Right now, we are transitioning to energy manager program. We have energy manager in Aqua who delivers energy conservation program. So this is a final result we achieve till today is 210 municipalities access this service. We did a facility walkthroughs and produced results. got a lot of incentives for our clients and energy savings, cost savings, and greenhouse gas savings. As you can see, we provide a full range of services. We identify, we assess the opportunity, we recommend the opportunity, and we have a project management office who delivers the project. And then we have a measurement and verification team who actually reports and verifies. So it's a full circle, and there's a full accountability of what we do for our municipal clients. Now, as you know, once we started doing all these activities, there's a lot of data started collecting. So what we also embark on energy benchmarking. We started looking at the references of the work that was done by AECOM back in 2014-15. We started looking at what the plants are consuming and how we can use this as a key startup of the energy conservation decision-making process. So right now we have about 200 plants in this database internally to drive our business. Now, the next thing we also did is that as we started doing more projects, there's always a question about, did I achieve energy savings? Are you sure? Did I get my payback? Did I get my return on the investment? So what we are also doing, and what we started doing in 2015 is, a lot of our plants already have a SCADA system. So we have started energy management services that will give us a real-time data on the energy consumption. As you know, we try to work with hydro companies to get this access, but there was a lot of procedural and other barriers to achieve that. So we basically leverage the existing assets and add on services on energy management that will give us access to real-time data. And currently, since last year, what we are doing is that we are going further down into data collection to an individual equipment, key pieces of equipment level, so that we can do more concrete business analysis. We can do more real-time monitoring and drive much deeper energy savings opportunities. One of the things I should say to everybody is, I'm talking about energy, and we all focus on energy, but we also did a demand savings program. Unfortunately, the province put on hold on global adjustment saving programs, but we participated in that program. A couple of our big clients, this is just example from the region of Peel, with a couple of stations participation, and we were able to save somewhere around amount of $6 million by participating in demand savings program for appeal, and we have other participants in this program. So that was another activity we carried out. As I said, this was the first energy efficiency training. We started this training, we developed with Fleming College, and we delivered this. And this is the first training that was director approved. I believe this is the only training that talks about energy and climate change that is offered to water wastewater operators and carries a CEU. It has in-class and a site visit component, and the whole objective was basically train the operators, make them more aware, let them be the forefront of identifying the energy opportunities. As you know, we are spread across the Aqua is spread across against Ontario, and for a small energy corporate team to go up to Rainy River and do the energy walkthrough, it's a lot of cost associated. So in approach to save those expenses, we started looking at different opportunity, and we have all the staff on the front lines. So our strategy is basically, let's make them aware, let's build that knowledge capacity and create more energy champions by giving them tools. So this training basically looks at giving them enough knowledge so that they can send email to the corporate team saying, hey, I think I have an opportunity, can we talk? And then he or she will have enough information to share with the expert team and then go from there. So the training basically shares also templates, how to write business case and all those stuffs. So we delivered it to 80 plus employees within Aqua, usually team leads and managers. We also delivered this training to City of Sudbury and a few other non-Aqua clients, and it was well received. Innovation is a big part of efficiency. As you know, Brian mentioned about, you can achieve, because our infrastructures are old, our equipment are old, you can achieve some no-brainer energy savings by just flipping up the new equipment with the old equipment. But if you attach the controls and operational changes and innovative solutions, your energy savings exponentially grow, and that's what we proved through our projects. So currently, innovation is a big focus, which I lead. And some of the projects, out of numbers of projects we are doing, is we're working with Canadian Urban Institute to complete energy density mapping. We have tried some predictive modeling tools. We're also working on some energy storage and energy recovery projects. waste to heat recovery, typically around effluent heat recovery. I'm talking about. We have embarked on a phosphorus reduction project. Aeration and pump controls is a primary domain we look at. We have done a lot of projects. We're looking at new systems. This year, we are starting on a second North American installation of MABR technology in region of Waterloo. We're also testing one enhanced digester improvement technology from Netherlands, which will be the first of its kind in North America. So we're doing a lot of different varieties of tools. One additional thing we also do is support various academic institutions on leading research around emerging topics, because we want to know and we want to support these entities to come up with the good results. And then, as I said, then we started looking at, okay, so what? I did energy efficiency. I bring the footprint of energy consumption to a X amount, but I still can't achieve net zero unless I look at generation opportunity. And that's where we started looking at how can we, utilize the biogas and biosolids and phosphorus to put some, revenue, to bring some offset, some greenhouse gas and other key credits. So that's how we looked at the net zero, bringing in food and organics waste into the plant, phosphorus recovery and reduction, converting this biogas into a clean fuel, namely RNG and hydrogen. That's how we started embarking on a co-digestion approach. So basically, co-digestion is primarily we are targeting anaerobic digester wastewater plant at this point, and currently these plants are basically consuming much more than they produce through their biogas being used in boilers and heatings. Then we looked at, okay, if we adopt innovative technologies around digester and enhance the biogas production and do some heat recovery projects, yeah, we can increase the energy production, but still we can't hit the net zero. Then we looked at the organics, like if we can free up the digesters capacity, push some more stuffs within the system, and then bring in the high energy nutrient organics into these wastewater plants, then suddenly the situation is net positive. And that's what we are embarking in these projects, especially in Stratford. The key one, what we started is here in this project, what we are doing is that we are upgrading our digesters with some innovative technology, sewage biological hydrolysis. We'll be bringing in 21,000 tons of food waste organics and co-mixing it with wastewater sludge, enhancing the biogas production, then cleaning that biogas into RNG and putting into a natural gas pipeline with the selling with the offtake agreement with the gas utility, then enhancing the biosolids into Class A fertilizer, and also subsequently reducing 49,000 equivalent tons of carbon dioxide as a part of this project. So as you know, these projects are really supported and a key priority for the Ontario government, and we have received a big $5 million funding for this project. So currently we have similar projects, concept of projects in Cornwall. We are working Petawawa, Belleville, and Georgian Bluffs, and our goal is to look at all these. These are remaining anaerobic digester plants. The color coded are basically we worked with Enbridge to do the potential of, if we bring in organics to these anaerobic digester wastewater plants, what's the potential of biogas production, and we will continue doing that and achieving net zero resource recovery projects. And I'm very desperate and look forward to meet all of you once more time whenever that time comes, in person in conferences. Thank you.
Excellent. Very good indeed. That's a very good overview. Thank you very much, Indra, for that strategic overview of what you've been doing with Aqua. That was fascinating. And again, we'll be looking forward to questions at the end. If you have something that you specifically want to address to the presenters, do use the Q&A or the chat function, and Robert is going to collect those up and make sure that we address as many of those as we can. Our second speaker is from Calgary, from the City of Calgary Water Utility. That's Morris Liu, and he is a senior engineer with the City of Calgary's Water Utility, where he leads the energy management team. He has been working with the utilities and with water and wastewater industry for over 20 years. Over the last little while, Morris and his team have searched for energy saving efficiency opportunities in Calgary, and the water utility has reduced the energy use and energy costs and GHG emissions from a variety of projects, including rotating equipment and power quality improvements and facilitating solar projects for generation, and of course bill monitoring and fund applications. So Morris, we're welcome you this afternoon. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you everyone for your interest in the presentation, and this conference is a great conference. The presentation below will share some experience we gained from our practice in energy management initiative in past years, which includes, next slides, please. Yeah, the challenges we have to deal with. Our energy management initiatives, which started with strategy, development, and followed by implementation. And also, we're going to share some findings, some highlights on the findings from energy auditing, and also the changes that we noticed since we started our energy management initiatives. Lastly, we try to share some of our beliefs from our past practice on being a sustainable water utility, how our energy management activities should be directed to. The last slide would touch a little bit on the lessons learned, hopefully can be helpful to other utilities. Next slide, please. The challenges we have, like other utilities, water utilities, we have some unique as well. First of all, City of Calgary Water Utility has been topping the consumption of electricity and natural gas for the last few years across all service lines that City of Calgary provided to its citizens. Second one is energy cost has been the second largest expenditure of the water utility next to the personnel. And third one is, this is the worst one. Is a continuously increasing energy cost that becomes a pressing issue to a sustainable water utility, and that is almost not in our hand. Greenhouse gas is largely avoided at the City of Calgary service range by a renewable electricity purchase contract, or short as a REC. This is started from 2007 and for 20 years valid. The last one is under the current REC, the clauses is not that much in favor or providing lots of room for water utility to implement its energy initiative, particularly in the demand side management. Next slide, please. The strategy for water's energy management initiative started to be developed in 2014 and got approval by water utility in 2015. The document identified some energy management opportunities in operation and maintenance practice, but most of them are in general because that was shortly after the team, the water energy management team was formed. And we have really limited knowledge to the situation, the landscape of the water's energy consumption versus cost. So many of those touched and just at a high level and in general. So the document also examined some spend to save opportunities, explored funding mechanism for energy management projects, and also proposed energy management discussions in planning and design stages. This is something relatively new to the utility because previously the energy management activities is more on spontaneous basis or individual based. If you do have energy conscientious or you're a little bit more energy mindful, then you probably will have some energy piece in your energy efficiency piece in your project. If not, then it just go by flow. Next slide, please. The document also recommended energy auditing as at a facility level. The energy auditing at facility level as a start point of energy management initiative. What I'm trying to say here is at utility level, we do have picture because apparently INMAX will have all the data. The electricity power board and also natural gas provider, they will have their revenue data, but that provide overall data, but not in the specific facility. So we miss that part. Therefore, we realize that that is probably the start point that we can find out more energy management opportunities from. So the energy auditing at facility level is going to build the baseline at facility level to identify the energy management opportunities and to prepare the capital budget request if appropriate. The document also established a preliminary target in energy performance indicators at the potable water system, which is measured by kilowatt hours per megaliter, and energy neutrality as a long-term target at wastewater treatment plant. Next slide, please. The implementation side started with the energy auditing projects. Actually, it's under one program. We run several projects, and since 2016, we have completed 31 water and wastewater facilities. We identified more than 80 energy management opportunities, and roughly 30% of them were moved to next phase, whether it is triggering operational or process optimization, or asking for further study or tests, or it's providing some basis for capital money request, and also the grant application. The other thing is very interesting is that the data availability seems to be a key issue that we run into through our energy auditing projects. Therefore, we jumped in right away whenever it's feasible and economically viable. We started to improve our data availability to ease the identification of EMOs. So we're going to touch a little bit examples later on this site. So in tangible asset site, we did increase some tangible asset in energy efficiency. For example, for both water treatment plant, we installed the solar PV generation on the roofs of the water treatment plant, which saved so far a little over $500,000 from 2017 until 2020. Next slide, please. The findings I'd like to share with you on water treatment plants auditing include a couple of which I believe could be interesting, but depends on the utility and the facility. I think some of them you may find common, some of them you may find maybe is not so closely relevant to your case. So first one is good news. I think the positive news is in general operating practice are efficient in general. That means no surprises found, such as the constant throttling. And the second one is the cost impact of electricity in percentage is a lot greater than the usage. Example being given there for all water treatment plant, but water treatment and wastewater treatment plants, the kilowatt hour percentage for the plant ranging from 50 to 72%. However, the cost dollars start from 95% of the total plant. So now you can see the impact has expanded in the cost. As earlier mentioned, this current REC renewable electricity purchase contract is a lack of incentive to water utility to manage its demand or make more energy efficient operation. Last one is we found is a constant decision to be made through the auditing projects that we either to have to spend more effort in filter, improve the quality of the data, or we have to sacrifice some level of depth in analysis in energy auditing because we always find some surprises in data missing or data poor data. The picture here showing the two water treatment plants at the city. Glamour was built in 1930 and Bearspaw was built in 1980. Next slide, please. The wastewater treatment plant, we performed energy auditing at Pine Creek plant. Some findings I found quite interesting is one, like the digested biogas contributed 29% of the total plant energy needs, not just the thermal needs. So that means that if we can utilize all those, then it's quite efficient for the plant operation. For your information, this Pine Creek wastewater treatment plant does not have, although we do produce digested biogas, but we don't have any power generation based on the digested biogas. So this 29% is all for heating. Pine Creek blowers consumed 29% electricity as the single largest consumer. Yes, it is in line with the common belief or the industrial practice that this is the largest consumer at the wastewater treatment plant. However, what surprises me is 29% only, not as commonly reported, 65% to 70 or 75% of total electricity consumed. I don't have the answer, sorry, for why this one is like this. How much was it related to the process? But because this plant, the process this plant was designed has not that much difference. It has about a dozen or not 24 in North American with a similar process, but we haven't seen this kind of ratio reported. Last one, again, this is never get overestimated. Data availability is proven a precursor of plant energy management, as probably many of us know that. Pine Creek wastewater treatment plant picture is attached here. And this is a relatively new plant built in 2000. Final commission is 2010 online. Next slide, please. So after a few years practice implementation, and we had some trending data, and we noticed a good trend on water treatment system energy performance indicators. As you can see from the curve on the left, since 2016, the curve starts to dip, and the amplitude is roughly from 500 to 465 kilowatt hours per megaliter. And on the wastewater side on the right, and it is also almost following the same pattern until we see a bump in 2018. That is primarily due to our on-site power generation at Bonnie Brook wastewater treatment plant was not available for an extensive period of time in that year. So we lost quite a bit recovery opportunities. And that is, by the way, the right curve does include the natural gas thermal consumption part, but the left side does not, because on potable water side, the natural gas is primarily, or is, if it's not all, primarily used in heating, not process related. But the right-hand side is the process related thermal consumption. Okay, next slide, please. The sustainable water utility has an important criterion that you have to maintain the financial sustainability first. And the financial sustainability is challenged significantly at the City of Calgary by those continuously increased energy cost. So therefore, we feel to implement more EMOs, energy management opportunities, to refrain the water rate increase will definitely contribute to a sustainable water utility, whether the increase is due to energy rates or population growth or more stringent regulatory requirements. It's the same. And the impact example, we have Bonnie Brook wastewater treatment plant, power generating and heating, which generates about 50% of total plant use energy, electricity, but savings can be more than 2 million per year. Greenhouse gas emissions is largely avoided by a REC, but further reduction is still possible. For example, Pine Creek Energy Auditing find out there is a 21% consumption on the natural gas, which can be replaced by biogas generated instead of flaring. So the solar PV we have installed for 2 water plants, but we can do it more at new facilities. Example being one of the lift stations currently is just completed a week ago, and another pump station roof will have this in detailed design. So last one is the less capital intensive EMOs should be explored and implemented first, particularly for City of Calgary due to the financial situation. Next slide. Yeah, this is my last slide for lessons learned. The most important thing I would repeat again is data availability. It is essential to monitor before you do any analyze or identify any EMOs. So for City of Calgary, when we started the energy auditing, we noticed that for a lot of large motors ranging from several hundred until up to 2,000 horsepower motors, typically is equipped with a motor protection relay, which has a functional feature that reports the energy or power quality from the motor, but it's not wired further to the SCADA system. Therefore, there's no use, right? And we wired further to the SCADA and then to the PI plant information system, so we have capacity to store them and train them. Education is a key to engage stakeholders and staff in innovation energy management solutions. We organized dozens of presentations for operation and maintenance staff. Last one, early engagement is more effective and efficient at the planning and designing stage versus the retrofit. Yeah, we currently doing this. Already 2 projects were included in the early stage, so that means is going to ensure is the energy piece or energy efficiency piece will be included in the project delivery. All right, I think that's all I have. Thank you very much.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well done, Morris. That's very good.
Okay.
Appreciate the overview of the different water and wastewater systems in Calgary and your experience and the way you shared that. So that's excellent. Having bounced from Ontario to Alberta, we're going to bounce now way to the East Coast and go to New Brunswick. Samir Yamin is the manager of asset and energy management for the city of St. John, New Brunswick, where he provides strategic leadership and direction to the senior leadership team and the Common Council in developing and implementing the corporate asset and energy management programs for the city's agencies and boards and commissions. Samir has developed and implemented and managed more than 100 sustainable environmental and asset management initiatives since 2016 alone, and these have resulted in savings of $2.3 million and a reduction of more than 9,000 tons of CO2 equivalent of greenhouse gas emissions. These initiatives have won the City of St. John many national and regional awards, such as the Premier's Award for Energy Efficiency and the FCM, Federation of Canadian Municipalities, CH2M Hill Sustainable Communities Award in the energy category, presented by the Canadian Federation of Municipalities. So we very much welcome and look forward to the presentation by you, Samir. Go ahead.
Thanks, Brian. Can you hear me?
Sounds good.
Good, excellent. Thank you very much for this introduction. I'm going to take this one and I'm going to add it to my resume. And thank you and also I'm very happy to be here and for the opportunity to present. What we like to do here is, my presentation is going to be completely different from other presentations. I'm not going to touch too much on the technical energy efficient measure we implement in our facility. This will take us another couple hours. What we're trying to do in this presentation, I took a different approach. I want to present something differently here, is to provide the audience with overview of the City of St. John approach and methodology for us to how to integrate our climate change action plan into our decision making. And the reason we want to do this one here, because we have limited funding and we want to maximize our capital investment and our economic and environmental benefit as well. We need, additionally, we need to improve the level of service and minimize the risk to the public. Additionally, also in this presentation, I would like to talk about the approach, how we implement our energy efficiency measure into our municipal building, including our water facility, to help us reduce our greenhouse gases emission as well, and to achieve our greenhouse gas targets for the corporate. So just to give you some background information on the City of St. John, New Brunswick, the City of St. John is a coastal municipality with approximately 70,000 people as of 2017. The city is surrounded by the Bay of Fundy and St. John River, which make it very susceptible to climate change hazard events such as the sea level rise and flooding. And in 2018 and 2019, we have experienced a lot of flooding and seawater rise in our area, which would help us to develop a lot of mitigation strategy and in order to address this issue. The City of St. John has a significant infrastructure. As you can see for here, we have a very long grade of road, water pipes, sanitary pipes, stormwater, and we have over 168 facility, including 60 lift station. The total value of our asset is $3.2 billion, which for myself, I consider it is a significant for the size of communities such as the City of St. John. Therefore, it is important for us to develop some kind of decision criteria to help prioritize our investment into our infrastructure to ensure the required level of service important to the customer, as well as the important thing we need to, how can we reduce our infrastructure deficit, as well how to reduce our overall operating cost of the utility. The council took a significant step in 2019, and we, as part of this step, the council has adopted our climate change action plan, which is very important for us at the time. And this climate change action plan consists of three strategy or three pillars, whatever you need it, is our climate change adaptation strategy, which are dealing with our community resilient and our infrastructure resilient. The second one, we talk about our asset management program strategy, is try to define what are the risks associated with our infrastructure, what is the capital investment we require to continue to provide the level of service we need it here at an optimal level. And then lastly is we talk about our climate change mitigation strategy, which consists of our community greenhouse gas action plan, as well as our corporate greenhouse action plan here. Additionally, and it is crucial here to explain here, the city took a important decision here, and they understand the importance to ensure that the three strategies are working together. So what we did, some organization changes, and we have all three strategies managed under one city division, which is, we call it the Asset and Energy Management Program. And I've seen it previously in many municipalities when we have various climate change program, environmental program, energy management program, asset management program, and sometimes I don't see any interaction between this one. In order to ensure this interaction and to maximize our infrastructure, we had to put this three strategy under one division. First, I'd like to give you some information about our climate change strategy, adaptation strategy. The main objective of this strategy is how can we improve our community and infrastructure to make it resilient to climate change hazard. And this climate change adaptation strategy was adopted by Council in November 9, 2020. And in it, we have developed and identified the methodology we need to use in order to conduct a vulnerability assessment on our infrastructure and identify what mitigation strategy we need to do in order to reduce the risk on our structure in terms of building, lift station, as well as our water pipe. And in it also we identify what are the bylaw, the strategy we need to do it, and what are the environmental and economic impact on our community as well as our infrastructure as a result of this climate hazard. This one was adopted by Council, and we're looking to incorporate it into our municipal plan, as well as the climate change strategy will be embedded into our infrastructure management strategy. The next one of our strategy is our asset management program. In the asset management program, we've been working on it for the last 4 years, and the objective of our asset management program is how can we provide the best optimal level service at the lowest life cost. This is very important. And how we're going to do it? By managing our infrastructure in an environmentally and sustainable manner. In order to do this here, we have developed a lot of preventive maintenance program. We have developed a lot of practices, and we have mapped all our asset building, linear asset into our GIS and update our inventory data. And we developed a risk rating and condition rating system to help us prioritize our capital investment on our infrastructure to help us manage effectively our infrastructure. And all this information, the risk rating, the condition rating, all this data are available to us into GIS, would help us to, and in the end will help us to take this information and embed it into our infrastructure when we do any energy audit or greenhouse gases emission and so on. The last of our strategy as part of the climate change action plan is our mitigation strategy. Now we are dealing, how can we reduce our greenhouse gases? We have a two component of this, which is our community greenhouse gases emission here, and we're looking at reduce our target by 9% by 2025 and 18% by 2035. In it, we have developed all the action item and the strategy and the project we need to do it on our various sector, whether it's transportation, whether it's building, whether it's the district energy system, whether it's local energy source, in order for us to achieve the target. And if implemented this measure, we expect them to be able to reduce our annual saving by $44 million, which translated into diverting over $1.1 billion in energy into our local economy. The last one, as part of our mitigation strategy, is our corporate greenhouse gas emission, which will very much working toward this greenhouse gases in our corporate. And in our corporate, we look at all our fleet and transit. We're looking at our building, which we have over 168 buildings. We're looking at possibility of some district energy system, whether it's coming from geothermal or from waste energy and so on here. Our targets we are hoping to have a target 30% by 2025, below the 2015 level, and our long-term target to be carbon neutral by 2040. City of St. John is not new to energy efficiency. We've been working on implementing energy efficiency in our municipal building as well in water facility in the last 10 years. As Brian indicated, the city has been recognized even national and even international level for their effort to reduce greenhouse gases and energy costs. As of 2017, we completed over 100 plus energy opportunity in our building. And we have able to achieve over $2.3 million as of 2017, which translated over 9,400 tons of CO2, which is a significant for us as per the size of the city of St. John. And we received over $22 million in grant and loan toward these energy measures. In this year, we decided that we want to go further into our energy efficiency program in order for us to meet the 2030 target and the 2040 target to be carbon neutral. So in 2019, we launched an extensive, what we call it, a deep energy efficiency program into our building as well into our facility, which include over 168 facilities. This program is very complicated. It's a complex program, and will like a lot of effort and administration and organization skill here. We are very happy and to receive over $4.7 million from various levels of government, including the Low Carbon Economy Fund, FCM, and our utility, in order to implement some of this measure in the future. We're hoping to complete the program by March 2024. The objective of this program here, in addition to reduce to meet our greenhouse gases, is we're looking at reducing the greenhouse gases in our building by 4,000 tons of CO2, which is very aggressive target for us to meet it by 2042. And as well, we want to be able to reduce our infrastructure deficit by $55 million by replacing old inefficient pump, light, heating, ventilation, boiler, roof, everything together. We are looking at all this here, and hope to reduce our operating energy costs by over $600,000 annually. In the same time, what we're hoping to improve the level of the service and resilience of our building. And the implementation part. So we know this is program we took on is a very complex and project and require a lot of communication and like a lot of engagement by many steps. So what we did here, we took a system approach here. We don't want to jump and start doing energy audit. We don't want to jump and developing energy efficiency measure and so on. We need to ensure that our program is very successful and achieves the target we wanted in terms of greenhouse gases, in terms of our infrastructure renewal, in terms of climate change adaptation, and in terms of our operating costs. So we have all these objectives we need to meet in order to do the program. So what we did here is we need to have funding approval from council. We did provide the funding program to council, which over $12 million to $15 million. We received some funding from various government, and the remaining of the funding has already approved by council. So we have the council support, we have the senior leadership support, we get it here. We have developed a working committee. As part of the working committee, we include operation manager to be part of this exercise, because they are the one who understand more the operation of their wastewater and water plant, lift station, everything. So this is part of our working committee, which we meet on a bi-weekly basis to understand the project and the issue we're having and what is our next step here. And the important thing here also we did is we developed a measuring and verification plan, including submetering. I noticed in many municipalities I visit, and some of them, they implement energy efficiency measure and the best energy innovative measure and so on. However, toward the end of the project, they failed to meet their targets. So we did develop a measurement verification plan and submeter to help us not only meet the target, but to continually monitor and optimize an energy saving. And this is part of our education program. We want operation manager to take ownership of their building and in order to achieve the target. And we've seen a lot of result happening in our building because operation manager has took ownership of their building. And as part of this, we have developed a decision criteria. And the decision criteria, I'm going to discuss it later on in the slide here, to help us, again, to maximize our capital investment and as well maximize the environmental and economic benefit here. So that was a great big part of our decision matter in order to identify what energy measure we need to do here. So just to give you a snapshot of this measure, I know this is only a small graph. It shows you a list of some of the energy measure by building and how much the energy costs, the capital costs, what are the criteria we want to use to do this. This is just a snapshot of our list of our project per building. This is very important here, and when we did our methodology and approach here, we need to ensure that information and strategy and data from our climate change mitigation strategy, as well from our climate change adaptation and our asset management practices, are going into our information, into our community and plan. We need to make sure these are embedded into our decision making. This is the decision criteria we use when we try to identify our energy measure. We are using 3 criteria: the life cycle cost, our risk, and level of service. And each criteria is based on weighting average here. Even though sometimes the energy measure is low, however, the risk and level of service could be high, we still use this energy measure. And part of the life cycle cost, we look at the social cost of carbon, energy cost, and the infrastructure renewal. And when we look at the risk, we look at the climate change adaptation and vulnerability, as well as the condition of the asset, as well as the level of service. What we have completed over 20 projects so far, and we're looking at reducing our greenhouse gases by 2020 by 1,500, which translated to 200,000. We are on the right track to meet our target right now by 2024. No, we're gonna continue implementing our monitoring plan and updating our local action plan. And also we need funding because some of the projects are still not financially feasible. We're still looking to solicit some federal and provincial projects to make it financially viable to us. And this is my last slide. Brian, thank you very much. I hope I didn't go over the limit.
We're doing pretty good, so that's great. Thank you very much for that good overview. Very interesting, Samir, and some real successes to build on, and obviously some challenges that all of us will have to face too. So thank you indeed. Our final presentation brings us sort of full circle. We started in Edmonton with EPCOR as a sponsor, and our final speaker is also from EPCOR. It's Cheng Zong, who is the energy manager for EPCOR of Water Services. Headquartered again in Ottawa, in Edmonton, but with all sorts of activities that stretch further than that. Cheng is an environmental engineer with more than 20 years of experience in the water industry, with a primary focus on energy management and water treatment and plant operations, as well as change management really crucial aspect of what we're dealing with. Ching has extensive experience in artificial intelligence, modeling, as well as real-time processes and monitoring and control. Ching has participated in several AWWA Research Foundation research projects and has published more than 12 papers in refereed journals and several reports with AWWA Research Foundation. And he is currently playing as a big role in our Energy Efficiency Committee, and being the chair of that and keeping us in order. And he is actively promoting and sharing energy efficiency knowledge with CWWA utility members and through colleagues in many municipalities. So the idea of not only doing a good job, but helping others to do a good job as well. So Ching, I don't know if your presentation will be able to play automatically, but either in person or through something you've set up, it's all yours.
Thank you, Brian. I have pre-record the video, and this is the first time we play my presentation today. Is EPCOR Services approach toward achieving. Brian, can you hear it? My presentation today is going to focus on three major areas. First, I'm going to have a brief introduction of EPCOR's environmental strategy. And then I'm going to provide some details on energy audits we have or planned for wastewater treatment plants, water treatment plants, booster stations, and reservoirs. And finally, I'm going to provide some examples of energy efficiency improvements we have completed or in action right now for EPCOR Water Services. EPCOR's environmental strategy focuses on three major goals: reduce companies' own environmental footprints and improve the resiliency of our infrastructure to deliver the services. Of course, at the same time, we want to help our customers and the communities we serve to reduce their own environmental footprints and improve their own resiliencies as well. To reduce the environmental footprints, the major goals we have is to reduce our utility impacts to air, land, water, and ecosystems, and of course, reduce GHG emission as well. The key action items we have, of course, enhance our watershed monitoring and protections. We've done this for many years. Eliminate PCBs in electricity infrastructures by 2023. We had committed to that goal. Reduce emissions of our corporate fleet vehicles and improve the energy efficiency of it by replacing them with newer vehicles and electric vehicles. Increase potable water reuse. Increase local renewable electricity generations like solar panel, rooftop solar panels, and solar farms. I'm going to provide a little more details later on those aspects as well. To improve infrastructure resiliency, basically, we started by provide detailed simulations and reports of the impact of extreme weather events on the utility infrastructures in Edmonton area. Basically, that two major aspects of this is the North Saskatchewan River flooding events and the stormwater systems overland flooding by heavy rains. On the implementation side, so we submit those reports to obtain federal and provincial grants and use the fundings available to implement flood mitigations that protect homes, businesses, and the utility essential services infrastructure as well. And we always provide education that promotes water efficiency, energy efficiency, and conservation as well. And then we also prepare electricity grid to support electric vehicles or the rooftop solar panels for households. EPCOR always try to support City of Edmonton for the GHG reduction emission reduction plan. In 2018 and early 2019 as well, City of Edmonton published a community energy transition plan, strategy plan. In that report, it states City of Edmonton's aiming at a goal of 35% reductions of GHG emissions below 2005 level by 2035. And also we want to produce electricity that's being used locally and produced locally and used locally by 2035. That's a 10% goal. To achieve that goal, EPCO specifically placed 2 targets. One is by 2025, we want to reduce GHG footprints in the City of Edmonton by 70% of the 2012 baseline. And this is the end result of this is we're going to use 100% green electricity for all the operations within City of Edmonton. We also have a 2035 goal that's to reduce another additional 15% of the 2012 baseline. So these are the 2 major goals we already committed to. Here's a graph showing the current EPCO emission status. So here, the blue block is the emissions by water infrastructure, and the red blocks the emission by the wastewater infrastructure. The orange block is the emission by the electricity distribution grid, and the blue blocks is the emission by the corporate-free vehicles. And you will notice that there are only 2 green blocks showing up here, and this the drainage department, emission by the drainage department. Those are the emission by the sewer lift stations and stormwater system. And also you will see that the pink lines here, that shows that populations we serve in the City of Edmonton and the surrounding area, we call it the capital regions of Alberta. And you will see that EPCO's emission is relatively stable at this level. The emission went down from 2014 to 2017, but it comes up again to 2018 and 2019 because of additional emission that transferred from the City of Edmonton. So the major projects we have in action to achieve 2025 reduction targets, the E.O. Smith water treatment plant solar farm. It's a solar farm within the E.O. Smith water treatment plant and located in the River Valley area. It's 12 megawatt capacity that will serve the usage of E.O. Smith water treatment plants and have capacity export to the grid as well. The second project in action is offtake agreements for renewable energy certifications or credits for a new wind farm in southern Alberta. That project is going to be complete by 2023. For the targets and actions to achieve the 2035 targets, EPCO is considering electric vehicles for corporate fleets, utilizing biomethanes, synthetic natural gas from biogas, hydrogen for heatings and transportations, and of course alternative low energy process technologies for water and wastewater treatments. And we know that these are new technologies. We need to wait for them to be mature and practical to be approved for implementation. So as a result, we would redefine 2035 targets and detail actions and plans to revise for practical purpose down the road. So EPCO's net zero utility vision, we have 2 key drivers. One is the accelerated GHG emission reduction plans issued by the city in early 2020. and that is to achieve a 50% reductions of GHG emissions below 2005 levels by 2030. We have additional 15% to reduce, and the timeline is shortened to 2030. And a second driver is as the main theme of the webinar today. We all want to achieve a sustainable utility of the future, and we want to see that picture includes a GHG emission reductions as well. From this two perspectives, Agora Services will strive for a roadmap to achieve that net zero utility vision. I'm going to provide additional background information about EPCO Water Services. Three major operating departments are water treatment plants and water distribution systems, wastewater treatment plants, and the drainage department, which includes sewer lift stations and stormwater systems. For energy audits, we have done one in 2015 for Gold Bar wastewater treatment plants. That's an energy efficiency audit, and we are actually doing its 2021 versions update of the energy efficiency report for Gold Bar wastewater treatment plants as well. On the water side, we are doing energy audits for Rossdale water treatment plants, EO Summit water treatment plants, reservoirs, and boost stations as well. And we are coordinated with drainage department for their energy audit activities coming up soon. When we actually conduct energy audits, typically we'll look through these aspects. So basically, we will conduct process and building equipment efficiency assessments and the building envelope assessments. With those data, then we will prepare a baseline of GHG emission report. In the process, we will complete surveys and interviews with our stakeholders to make sure that everybody is fully engaged. And we want to evaluate and recommend process improvements by the consultants on the details and what's practical and doable projects we can complete to achieve further GHG emission reductions. And finally, we want to have a roadmap layout specifically for us to achieve net zero utilities. And a detailed capital plans with a very good estimations of capital costs to complete that vision, and a campaign plan to increase public awareness of the approach we're doing. And overall, we like the approach to be interactive and open-minded. We welcome all kinds of ideas, and we will hold brainstorming sections as well in the fall, more workshops and surveys as well. This is a plug for our excellent external consultants. We definitely like the works of external consultants to conduct energy audits, and you can see the clear benefits here. They have certified expertise in GHG audits and energy efficiency audits, and they have extensive experience in multiple cities and in different provinces, so it allow us to do the cross-country benchmarking. And they are professionally trained in leading discussions and encourage anonymous feedbacks if required. This highly trained professionals, they also can tailor a roadmap specifically for your utility and plan a capital investment plans with quite accurate cost estimations. And a independent third-party report, it's always suitable for the city planning departments to refer to or to rely on to generate their own reports. And for the next two slides, I'm going to discuss some examples we have, the detailed projects and activities related to energy efficiency. Of course, the number one issues we are doing right now is the building HVAC improvements. We have created HVAC standards to encourage usage and reuse of heat and cooling airs whenever possible. And we try to harmonize that HVAC standard within Epcot Water Services different departments. And here is also a major projects we have completed for the HVAC upgrades, and they are multi-million-dollar projects for water treatment plants buildings and wastewater treatment plant buildings. And of course, we also adjust the temperature for offices and reservoirs for their business hours and off hours. And this is a relative low-hanging fruit and everybody can do. Epcot Water Services also have roof upgrade plans, programs on actions for the last 10-15 years. We always have a scheduled replacement for the roof to enhance their insulations and protections for the building. And we have that LED and PCB light fixture replacements for the last 5 years. That always actually in action will be continuing in place. The other key projects we have is on the process side. Wastewater treatment plants Gobar. It's starting design of the newer blower for efficiency improvements. Everybody knows a blower is the major energy consumers in the wastewater treatment plants. For the water treatment plant side, we actually generate hypochlorite locally in two water treatment plants. The process actually generate a lot of heat, and we try to recover that heat to use for other purpose as well. And high lift pumps, it's always the major energy consumers of the water treatment plants to deliver pressure for the water distribution systems. And we plan to have a newer and better high lift pumps to allow us to better scheduling of the pump and improve pump efficiency as well. Water leakage in the treatment process, it's always an issue. We try to minimize it to 5% or lower. Any improvement on that is on both improvements on water efficiency and energy efficiency. For the reservoirs, we try to do two major actions over there. One is convert reservoir pumps to booster pumps if allowed to do that. So water going to pump to the pumps when it's available and suitable to the distribution systems without dumping into the reservoirs and lost energy in the pipeline. On the other hand, if we had to fill the reservoirs, we want to recover that fill line energy because they're being pressurized. If dumped into the reservoir, that pressurized energy is lost in the process. If we can recover it through the micro turbine and other approaches, that would be a good energy recovery process. Other water efficiency and conservation actions we have, we're always doing the integrated resources plans. We have the newest version for stormwater systems completed in 2018, and the water systems, our newest update is completed in 2020. Distribution system leak detection programs, we have that for the last 20 years through the acoustic listening programs and through that report by our customers. And we have the cast iron pipe replacement programs since late 1980s. It's almost done, so that will reduce the pipe breaks in the process. Here I'm going to provide a little bit more details on the little pump efficiency programs we have for the reservoir BFD pumps. It's called Reservoir Pump Health Programs. And we know that BFD pumps cavitation is a huge issue. for single pumps, either running in low speed, low flow, or high speed, high flow would result in captations. And for multiple pumps, running at high speed or running in low flow or in different modes, one pump running in speed mode, one pump running in pressure mode, then they also could have the opportunity for captations. And the two pictures showing here indicate the damage by the captations on the pumps. You can see the pittings, bendings on the blades in these pictures, and every time we replace the pump or blades, it's minimum 15,000 or more on each replacements. And the theory behind this little programs is we digitize the 3D curve of the heads of the water versus the flow and versus energy efficiency into SCADA systems. As shown here, the curves always showing what's the best efficient zones we mark as green zones, and two caution zones. That means pumping up, it's starting deviate away from its efficient zone, and the red zones, it's the capitation zone. We understand that within those zones, pump most likely to be in a capitation mode, and damage the pump easily. And the table here showing that once pump is damaged by capitation, its service life could be reduced as to 1/6 to 1/10 of its intended service life, and that's a huge issue for the pumps. So we do have this pump monitoring programs inside our SCADA interface. This is a G intrusion interface. We are showing here. This is a pump health bar, we call it, and it's showing this pump number 3 and Cascadeo reservoir running. It's a BFD pump, and that's why it's showing on the 3V. And right now, for running at 18 MLD and 590 kPa pressure, the pump is actually running at the lower end of energy efficient zones. For the next graph, you will see it when pump is actually running, the same pump running at the 16 MLD and 590 kPa pressure again. It actually into the caution zones. And here you will see that orange triangle showing up as caution. So operators need to watch for it. And the next slides actually showing when the same pumps are running the same pressure, but 13.5 MLD flows, then it's in the lower flow capitation zone. And operator will see a red diamond showing up in the health bar, indicate they need to do something. We actually provide training sections for operators on dealing with this capitation issues. When they see the indicator for potential capitation actions, they are trying to change the pump or change the combination of the pump or shut down the pump and switch to pumping in other reservoirs to balance the actions in the reservoir systems. That's
terrific. Thank you, Gene, for setting that up so that it runs smoothly. It was one of the ones I could anticipate the end since there was a little timer on my screen. Thank you to all the speakers for the very profound and broad overviews of the experiences and the successes that they've had in their various jurisdictions. So that was very good. A reminder to the audience that there is a Q&A button on your screen over to the right side of your screen, I think in all cases, and you're welcome to raise questions there. And Jennifer Kamai has raised one very interesting question, which I'll direct first to Cheng, but see if others want to answer as well. And that's to this issue of what is the cost of carbon that we should build into our planning, and specifically the social cost. But there are obviously the price of carbon and carbon taxes whatever incentives we used is a key driver, but how do we build that into our thinking? Ching, you've just finished. Do you want to take a first stab at that question? I think it arose at the beginning of your presentation.
I will. Right now, primarily we still
and can we, sorry, just 1 second, just pause for a second. Can we shift the screen to show all of us again now? That would be great if we can reposition ourselves.
Do you want to have a full panels on? Yeah.
Yeah. So everybody, all the panelists, if you can turn on your cameras if you have them. Obviously with Morris, we've got a bit of a technical challenge there. But if others can join us, that's great. And while they're doing that, Ching, back to you again.
So I know this Jennifer question, it's actually very common for everybody. What we do in EPCOR is we're still evaluating how we actually incorporate that social cost side of the carbon into the calculation. But we noticed that a recently published cost of the carbon has substantially increased. It used to be $20 to $25 per ton on the federal side. Now it's increased $30 per ton for this year, and it's going to increase every year on a $15 per ton steps. So in 10 years, we are looking for $170 per ton on that carbon tax. So it is stepping up very fast on the emission cost side. So that will definitely incur a lot of interest on the carbon emission reduction as well. So once you have that huge penalty in place, there will be new ways, new innovations to reduce emission with this kind of driver in place.
Terrific. Thank you, Ching. And Jennifer has actually clarified that her question was partly directed towards Samir as well. So Samir, do you want to jump in on that one as well?
Just a second. Okay. Yeah, no problem. You know what? I've been in this business for the last. Shoot, sorry about that. Sorry about that.
Life intrudes to other events.
I know. I'm looking. Brian, I've been in this business, I don't know, for 10, 15 years. And in the last 5 years, 7 years, there's a big shift, cultural shift toward energy efficiency, toward greenhouse gases. I remember I used to go to council, talk about energy. Now when I go to council, I talk about the soft stuff for carbon tax, everything like that. So I don't see any reason now for council not accepting greenhouse gases as a factor when we do our calculation. Every time when we do our calculation, when we do our payback, when we do our energy saving, when we do our capital investment, is carbon tax and soft is included as part of our calculation, an integral part of our decision making. It's become critical, and we know with the federal government, with their new clean energy, this is going to get more and more and more. So I do encourage people, once they do their calculation, to make sure greenhouse gases, carbon is included. As Shin indicated, this is going to be increasing 50, 70, 100 years, and 100, 150, and so on. So it is included in our plan. It is included in our decision criteria, and we use it every time to go to council for any approval of any capital investment.
Excellent. Thank you, Samir. And Samir, well, we've got you sort of primed here. Robert Howler has posted a question that came up from Carl B. in terms of what are the energy saving measures that were built into your recent water program? How did you build in energy savings more explicitly?
So what we do here, what we doing in our program here is we do conduct a building condition assessment, and we do energy audit in the same time when we do it. So and in it we have a list of energy measures as a result of building condition. And so we list it, and this energy measure, when we identify it, we know what are the payback, what are the greenhouse gases, what is the social carbon. And when we identify this measure, we look at this criteria. So we're looking at LED lighting to solar power. We're looking at biogas to heat recovery system. We're looking at UV system to all this. So all these energy measures are listed and identified in our building. In every building, we do it like that here, and we use this criteria again to identify this measure. We've been successful with a lot of control system, with pump upgrading, with LED, with solar renewal, being very successful.
Very good. Thank you very much. Well, your phone's on. Maybe you can mute your mic for just a second, Samir. Seems like someone's very persistent there.
Okay, thanks.
I will add to Samir's comment regarding these questions. In Air Water Services, we actually working on these measurements in two aspects. One is that we have monthly KPIs that actually measure our energy efficiency for major operations, such as high lift operations, and so we measure that index in terms of kilowatt hours per million liter water pump, and gas usage as well. So KPI measurement directly in operations, that's one aspect of it. The other one is we are in the process to hire consultant to do the energy audit. The requirement of the energy audit is they actually need to certify energy efficiency improvements in terms of GHG reductions if they propose something. So that can be submitted as goals we're going to do. And then finally, we reported GHG emissions annually in our corporate reports since 2012, and that's what we want to show to the public. Those plans in action to achieve those goals.
Terrific. Thank you, Ching. One of the things that has been very common in my experience is that there's really nothing that humans can do that other humans can't criticize. In the sense that there's so often skeptics or scoffers who detract from what we want to do. I'm wondering if any of the panel have particular stories of objections that they had to face and that they were successful at staring down. And I'm going to direct that one first to Indra. Indra, do you have an example of something where you had met a lot of doubters and skeptics and you were able to overcome them? And how did you do it? We see you, Indra, but we're not hearing you yet.
Good.
There you are.
I think you got to play with your microphone a little, Brian. I think jiggle your cord again. You're starting to go garbly on us.
That's so good.
Understand the question okay, Ching?
Yeah. I and it's working well. So to Brian's questions, we definitely meet a lot of challenges in our energy efficiency projects, and like I say, to identify the savings of energy efficiency for the project, it's always a challenge before we actually think about this, get the external certification of the process. And then that's one improvement we're thinking about. The other thing is how we engage people and actually using those energy efficiency improvements. If we don't engage them enough, for example, if for the case of change the temperature settings for the business hour and off business hour, we had to get the stakeholder involved for different buildings and get their feedbacks. So when you fully advocate your ideas and the reasons for it, they accept that the thinkings, and then they will fully participate, and they will be automatic doing the requests you ask them to do. And then for different buildings, you had to do a different treatment as well. For office, you set the office hour properly, and for operation rooms, they are actually running 24 hours. Then you will not do anything on it. And for reservoirs, the few human activities inside reservoirs, unless some regular maintenance visit, then you can set the temperature very low just to keep the equipment in the protected status. So yeah, fully engage your stakeholders. It's a big aspect of ensuring the success of energy efficiency improvements projects as well. So.
Brian, can
you hear me now? Is it better?
Brian, can I add something to the chain?
Yeah, I'm just double checking that the technical thing worked. Otherwise, I'm going to pass the chair on to Robert. Can you hear me okay? No. Robert, please take over.
Good. Yeah, Indra, you heard the question. Can you move it from there and just keep following up and maybe restate?
I didn't get the question because it was noisy.
Yeah. The question's in the chat.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah,
I think
question.
are you referring to a question from Terence, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I think Terence, you are referring to the organics being processed. So the project is not yet commissioned due to COVID pandemic. The construction is all delayed, but the project will be in a position to receive 21,000 tons of food waste organics by Q2 of 2022. And definitely, yeah, this is a great opportunity to increase the capacity of organics. As you know, the province is headed towards imposing organics diversion targets to a bigger cities above 95,000 population. We are hearing that it's going to be about 70% starting 2025 or later, and that's going to create a whole new volume of organics in the market. And then the province recently also changed a regulation around landfill permits. So basically, it's practically impossible to get any new landfills. So where are these organics going to go, right? In a short term, I mean, there's a lot of activities happening by different big municipalities to build new organics processing facility, but considering the permitting and zoning and location, it's a long process. So we are offering this codization as a midterm approach, because you can get a permit and you can get up and running in 3 to 5 years. And with start for 20,000, with all these 5 projects, it's about 100,000 already. It's not a lot, but it's something that will help the facilities go from treatment philosophy to the resource recovery philosophy, right? And achieving a net positive, net zero, whether it's energy or carbon, and also support provincial goals of clean fuels, organics diversion, greenhouse gas, climate change, resiliency, and a whole bunch of other targets.
Great, thanks, Terry. Indra, Ching, there's a question there for you above. What kind of certifications for energy audit do you require from energy consultants?
We are still in the process to see what consultant can certify for us, but we're actually looking at the 3 aspects for the water treatment plants, energy efficiency improvement. If it's a process improvement, we want to see any water leakage in volumes, cubic meters, being safe. That's one.
Sorry, King, I think the question is for the certifications of the people, not the plants.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Are you looking for a certain certification of the auditor?
Yeah. Oh, the auditor. So we actually look at 3 aspects: the past experience they have in energy audits, what are the examples they've done for the wastewater plants, water treatment plants, and water distribution systems or lift station experience they have, and whether their teams has GHG certification on those experts, and do they have also process experts for the treatment process in water plants and wastewater plants, particularly on the blower side for waste plant, for the pump sides on the water treatment plants, and any specialties on the UV disinfection side as well. That's a huge energy cost process as well. So those are the expertise, and we look at, and particularly you also look at the project locations. What kind of size of water treatment plants they're working on, and if it's consulting experience mostly in other continents like in the UK's or in Australia, that experience may not be very compared to experience in North America, particularly in Canada. So definitely there's a local experience really counts, and we also see how their working experience with the city planning departments. Their reports should be very convincing to the city planning department to help us to present our case as well, right? So those are the key aspects we're looking for the consultants to have.
And to add to King's comment, I think from the energy perspective, the energy conservation business is mostly driven by ASHRAE standards, and measurement and verification is driven by IPMBP protocols. So the certification agency and the association in the energy side is called Association of Energy Engineers, and they offer various certifications, namely Certified Energy Audit Manager. That's a key certification required to conduct and certify the energy audit reports. But then if you are looking for measurement and verification reports, then you need a Certified Measurement and Verification Professional, a CMVP offered by ISO to do that. In Canadian context, AE has a chapter here that also runs the courses here. And in addition, so these are the two primary certifications, but you can also have like CDSM, Certified Demand Side Management Professionals, Red Screen Certified Professional. So there's all other certification, but I think primarily if anybody wants to be an energy consultant, I would say CEM is a kind of a default certification we look at. Samir, you are shaking your head if you want to add.
Oh, no, I mean, I agree with you. I have 3 of them certification, and most, when we put any energy audit for a city, put any energy audit into as part of any proposal, we require anybody conducting the energy audit to actually stand at level 2. We require that the person has to have CEM or CAA certification to do it. So it's a requirement for us when we request for any energy audit.
And I want to add, for the major projects we do on the energy audits, we actually send out a request for proposal to our consultants with master agreements, and then we will select the shortlisted consultants to actually do the presentations on their past experience and the project they've done, and that really helped us to evaluate their capabilities and their expertise. So yeah, a presentation I think is a must if you're working with a large projects like that. So.
Can I ask, is Morris still online? Morris, are you still there? I'd like to draw you in just for a sec. I just wanted to maybe get back to Brian's question about facing opposition and how energy reduction plans go in Calgary, the city of energy.
Yeah, City of Calgary has a particular challenge because of the renewable. We are too green to get ourselves tight because the renewable energy costs us a little bit more than what you get from your average brown energy. And therefore, we have to pay to spend extra effort to get back to the regular level. And that's why we made those things like on-site generation and rooftop solar and this kind of thing, just to make it improved, not totally addressed, but improved. But good thing is through the education, here is what I want to add on to Brian's earlier question, that what kind of challenge or what kind of block we had, and that is a real situation we had at the beginning of the initiative, that energy or energy efficiency was not a high pitch at that time. And a lot of operators or staff did not realize that we are in a very critical situation in terms of energy conservation. So therefore, they at the beginning, they did not even feel like it's necessary to address this. But through the education and awareness campaign that now operators came to us when they even feel like they may create a new peak or cause some cost impact for next 12 months, then they may turn to us first for advices. This is super great for us. That means that we can catch or avoid this kind of situation beforehand. I feel so great for that.
How's your microphone going there, Brian?
I will test it again. Can you hear me this time?
You sound great. You're
Okay.
perfect.
Yeah.
So any last words to wrap up, Brian?
Yeah, I guess the obviously we're in a learning curve, and I love this idea of sharing our best practice with each other, of learning from each other. One of the things that sort of an interesting thing I've observed is sometimes we're really interested in energy efficiency, and sometimes efficiency is not a very good metric to drive us. We really want to look at energy reduction. And sometimes the price we pay for energy reduction is a reduction in the quality of service. And I think that sort of that tension between the different opportunities is something that we're going to have to balance. Obviously, there are critical issues that we're going to have to face. The world is a changing place in so many ways. I think we have to keep nimble. We have to keep talking. We have to keep in communication. And these forums are superb for moving us in the right direction. So thank you for the opportunity, and I'm sorry for the technical glitches earlier or in the middle of this. I hope it wasn't too much of a distraction.
And I just want to add to Brian's comments here. We realized that a lot of people are not realize that 2050 Canadian government's goal of net zero emission, and to implement to achieve that goal, we anticipate regulations possibly in down the road as well, on top of the carbon tax. But on the other hand, we also anticipate grant support. Government definitely will help us to achieve that way to the grant funding as well. So to prepare for that, you have to take actions. You have to show your plans, and you best show your plan is to have your energy audit for your facilities ready to create a baseline report, and then showing your roadmap how you're going to achieve it, and then use that to help you to assist to get the funding applications down the road to help you to achieve the goal. So.
Well, I just want to come. I'm wearing my toque to join you, Ching. My CWWA toque for 2020. Yes. And I really want to thank you, Ching, for your leadership of the committee, helping us get this project together, and your employer, EPCOR, as a wonderful sponsor all year round. Brian, as always, extraordinary moderator. Thank you to the whole panel. Indra, Morris, here, thank you. It was really fascinating. You're a total subset of our wastewater membership. We've got all these other water quality people and wastewater, and this energy group is very unique and a very tight group and a lot of exciting stuff, and it's leading edge where we have to go. I want to thank Kara Parisienne, who is our manager of communications, but is also the support person for this committee, but puts on this whole thing. I just come on at the end. Kara puts the whole thing together. So thank you, Kara. And to our technical team of Dave and Bernie behind the scenes. And of course, to the audience, I want to thank you for joining us. Hopefully you've been coming each week. Hang in, and we're going to wrap it all up on March 22nd on World Water Day, and I hope you'll join us for that. And I'll close with sharing Indra's comments in that I am also desperate to see everyone again and to get back to a live event, desperate, and to see my friends again. So take care, everyone, and we'll see you all soon.
Well done, everyone. All the best.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.